My best friend of 12 years stole $1,800 from my apartment, said, "You left it out like you wanted me to take it." Now she lost her teaching job after I filed a police report. My best friend handed me $200 in cash and said, "I figured this would cover it," after I caught her stealing $1,800 from my dresser drawer. I stood there in my bedroom doorway holding my empty jewelry box where I keep emergency cash. She was sitting on my bed with her purse open and my rent money literally sticking out of a side pocket. I'd gone to the bathroom for maybe 3 minutes. "What the hell are you doing?" She didn't even look guilty. Just annoyed. "You left it sitting right there on your dresser. If you didn't want anyone touching it, you should have put it away properly." I couldn't process what she was saying. This was Sarah, my closest friend since sophomore year of high school. She was in my wedding. I was supposed to be in hers next spring. We'd been planning to get an apartment together before I met my husband. "You're stealing from me. I'm borrowing it." "God, don't be so dramatic." She pulled the cash out of her purse and started counting it on my bed like this was normal. "I was going to leave you a note, but you came back too fast." I grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely unlock it. "Put it back right now or I'm calling the cops." That's when her whole attitude shifted. She stood up fast and got in my face. "You're going to call the police on me? On your best friend? Over some cash you left laying around like bait?" It was in a closed box inside my dresser drawer. "Whatever. You know I'm going through a rough time. You know I needed money for my car payment. You literally told me last week you had extra saved up and I thought, she's my best friend, she'd want to help me out." I did tell her I'd been saving extra. Because she asked how I was doing financially after her boyfriend dumped her. Not because I was offering to fund her lifestyle. "So you decided to just take it without asking?" She shoved the money at me. "Fine, here's $200. That's all I have on me right now. I'll get you the rest next month when I get paid. You took $1,800. Where's the other $1,600? I told you I needed it for my car. And my rent. And my credit card bill. Jesus Christ, when did you become so selfish?" I actually laughed. Not because anything was funny but because my brain was breaking. "Get out of my apartment. You're really doing this? You're really going to destroy our entire friendship over money? You destroyed it when you robbed me." She grabbed her purse and stormed toward my front door. Turned around before she left. "You left that money where I could see it. You basically set me up to fail. This is on you." Then she was gone. I sat on my floor and cried for probably an hour. Called my husband at work and he came home immediately. Told me to file a police report right away. I didn't want to. Kept thinking maybe she'd realize how insane she was being and bring the money back. Maybe she'd apologize. She didn't. 3 days later I went to the police station. Filed a theft report. Gave them screenshots of our text messages where she admitted taking the money but claimed it was a loan I'd agreed to. Which I never did. The officer said because she admitted to taking it, there was enough for charges. They arrested her at the elementary school where she teaches. Apparently they came during lunch and walked her out in front of everyone. Her mom called me screaming that I'd ruined her daughter's life over a misunderstanding between friends. I blocked her mom's number. Sarah's arraignment was last week. Her lawyer tried to get it dismissed, said it was a civil matter between friends. Prosecutor said no, it's theft, there's written admission, moving forward. She took a plea deal, probation and restitution, but the school district put her on administrative leave pending investigation. Today I found out they're not renewing her contract. She's basically lost her teaching job. Now my other friends are split. Half think I did the right thing. Half think I went nuclear over something that could have been handled privately. Her sister sent me a message saying Sarah's been suicidal and it's my fault for being vindictive. My husband says I did nothing wrong. That she committed an actual crime. Then I gave her a chance to make it right and she chose to blame me instead. But I can't stop thinking about her losing her job. Her whole career. I just wanted my money back. I didn't think it would blow up her entire life like this. Am I the butthole for filing charges instead of just letting it go? Sarah's lawyer showed up at my apartment yesterday with a cease and desist letter. I was eating leftover pizza on my couch when someone knocked. Opened the door to find this woman in a gray suit holding a folder. She introduced herself as Sarah's attorney and asked if we could talk. My husband was at work so I said sure, figuring maybe Sarah was finally going to pay me back the full amount. Wrong. The lawyer handed me papers saying I was harassing and defaming Sarah by spreading false information about the circumstances of the theft, and that I needed to stop talking about the case or they'd sue me for damages. Apparently Sarah's claiming I've been telling people she's a thief and a criminal, which is ruining her reputation and making it impossible for her to find work. I literally laughed in this woman's face. She is a thief. That's why she took a plea deal. The lawyer got all stiff and formal. Said the plea was a strategic decision to avoid costly litigation and doesn't constitute an admission of guilt. That Sarah maintains she had permission to borrow the money and I'm twisting the narrative out of spite. She admitted it in text messages. The police have those. My client's position is that those messages were taken out of context during an emotional disagreement between friends. I told her to get out. She left the papers on my kitchen counter and said I should consider the consequences of my actions before walking away. I called my husband immediately. He was furious. Told me not to sign anything and to ignore it completely. Said cease and desist letters are usually just intimidation tactics when someone doesn't have an actual case. Then my phone started blowing up. Sarah's been posting on social media. Not about me directly but these vague posts about toxic people who destroy lives over misunderstandings, and fake friends who choose money over loyalty. Her comments are full of people saying things like, "You deserve better," and "Real friends work things out privately." I didn't respond. Didn't post anything. My husband said that's exactly what I should do. But then Sarah's sister tagged me in a Facebook post. It was this long thing about how I weaponized the justice system against someone going through a mental health crisis. How Sarah's been in therapy since this happened and almost hurt herself. How I should be ashamed for prioritizing money over someone's well-being. The post had over 200 likes within an hour. People I haven't talked to since high school were commenting. Most defending me, saying theft is theft. But some were calling me cruel and vindictive. One girl I used to work with wrote, "There's always two sides and this seems excessive for $1,800. My husband made me deactivate Facebook. Said nothing good would come from engaging. The restitution hearing is in 2 weeks. Sarah's supposed to start paying me back in monthly installments as part of her probation. My husband talked to the prosecutor who said the cease and desist letter is meaningless and Sarah's lawyer is probably just trying to scare me into dropping the restitution claim. But here's the thing that's really messing with me. Sarah's mom came to my work 3 days ago. Just walked right into the clinic where I do medical billing and asked the front desk for me. When I came out she was crying. Begged me to have mercy on her daughter. Said Sarah's been applying to dozens of jobs and can't get hired anywhere because of the criminal record. That she's broke and depressed and this is killing their whole family. I didn't know what to say. This woman used to make me birthday cakes. I spent Thanksgivings at their house. She stole from me. I didn't make her do that. Sarah's mom grabbed my hands. She made a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. But she's paying for it. Isn't that enough? Do you really need to keep destroying her? Security escorted her out after she wouldn't leave. My boss pulled me aside later and asked if everything was okay. I had to explain the whole situation. He was supportive but I could tell he thought it was weird drama to bring to work. I keep checking Sarah's social media even though I know I shouldn't. She posted yesterday about starting over and leaving toxic situations behind. The comments are full of encouragement. Nobody knows she's talking about stealing $1,800 from her best friend. My husband says I need to stop caring what people think. That I did the right thing and Sarah's consequences are her own fault. That her family weaponizing guilt is just manipulation. But I can't stop wondering if I should have just let it go. If $1,800 was worth someone losing everything. If being technically right matters when someone's life is falling apart because of choices I made. Am I wrong for not dropping the restitution claim? The restitution hearing got cancelled because my best friend tried to break into my apartment. My husband woke me up at 2 in the morning last Tuesday. Said he heard something outside our bedroom window. We live on the ground floor so I figured it was a cat or raccoon. He grabbed his phone and turned on the flashlight, went to look. I heard him yell, "What the hell are you doing?" and ran out to find him at the front door with it wide open. My best friend was standing on our porch with a screwdriver in her hand. She'd pried off the screen from our living room window and was trying to jimmy the lock when my husband caught her. "I just wanted to talk," she said. Like that explained breaking into our home at 2 a.m. My husband told her he was calling the cops. She started crying immediately. Said she just needed 5 minutes to explain herself, that I wouldn't answer her calls or texts, that this was the only way to make me listen. "So you decided to break in?" She dropped the screwdriver. "I wasn't breaking in. I thought maybe if I could just see you face to face you'd understand. That lawyer, she made me send that letter. I didn't want to. I've been trying to fix this and everyone keeps making it worse." I came to the door. Stood next to my husband. "You need to leave right now." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Please just give me 5 minutes. I'll pay you back everything. I'll do whatever you want. Just please stop ruining my life." My husband already had 911 on speaker. The dispatcher asked if the person was still on the property. He said yes. My best friend heard it and started backing away. "I can't believe you're really doing this. I can't believe you actually hate me this much." 2 patrol cars showed up within 10 minutes. They found her sitting in her car parked down the street. One of the officers came back and asked if we wanted to press charges. My husband said absolutely yes. I didn't say anything, just stood there shaking. They arrested her for attempted burglary and criminal trespassing. Her bail was set at $5,000. Her mom posted it the next day. The prosecutor called me that afternoon. Said the restitution hearing was being postponed because of the new charges. That my best friend had violated the terms of her plea agreement by committing another crime, so now they were considering revoking her probation entirely. Asked if I felt safe and if I wanted to request a protective order. I said I didn't know. My husband said yes on my behalf. We went to the courthouse Friday and filed for a temporary restraining order. The judge granted it immediately based on the attempted break-in. My best friend has to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, and my workplace. The hearing for a permanent order is scheduled for next month. Her lawyer sent another letter. This one said I was manufacturing charges to punish and humiliate her client. That the attempted break-in was a mental health crisis brought on by the stress I'd caused. That her client was seeking emergency psychiatric treatment and I should be ashamed for pressing charges against someone in such a fragile state. I threw the letter away. But then her mom called my mom. My parents live 3 hours away. They knew about the theft but I downplayed it because I didn't want them involved. My mom called me crying, said my best friend's mother had phoned her begging for help. Told my mom that I was destroying this girl's life over a misunderstanding. That she tried to get me money and I was being cruel and unforgiving. My mom asked me what was really going on. I told her everything. The theft, the texts, the arrest at school, the cease and desist, the attempted break-in. My mom was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Why didn't you tell us it was this bad?" "Because I knew you'd worry." Her mother made it sound like you were the problem. Like you were exaggerating some small mistake between friends. "She stole $1,800 from me and then tried to break into my apartment." "That's not small." My mom said she'd call my best friend's mother back and set her straight. I told her not to bother. That nothing we said would change their minds. My husband's been checking our windows and doors every night before bed. Installed a Ring camera on our front porch. Makes me text him when I get to work and when I leave. I told him he's being paranoid. He said someone who tries to break into your house once might try again. I deactivated all my social media. Blocked my best friend's number and her family's numbers. Stopped going to the grocery store near our apartment because it's the one she uses. Changed my routine completely. My coworker asked why I seemed jumpy. I lied and said I wasn't sleeping well. The preliminary hearing for the burglary charge is in 2 weeks. The prosecutor said if my best friend takes another plea deal, she'll likely get jail time because she violated probation. If she fights it and loses, she could get up to 3 years. 3 years in prison because she tried to talk to me. I know that's not really why. I know she made every single choice that got her here. But I can't stop thinking about the girl who drove 4 hours to surprise me on my 21st birthday. Who held my hair when I had food poisoning. Who knew every stupid inside joke we'd built over 12 years. That person wouldn't have stolen from me. Wouldn't have blamed me for leaving money in my own apartment. Wouldn't have shown up at 2 in the morning with a screwdriver. I don't know when she became someone I don't recognize. My husband says I need to stop thinking about who she used to be. That people change and sometimes they change into people who hurt you. That I didn't create this situation and I'm not responsible for fixing it. But I keep wondering if I could have handled it differently. If I'd just let her pay me back in installments without involving police. If I'd answered one of her calls instead of blocking her. If there was some version of this where we both came out okay. My therapist says that's trauma bonding talking. That I'm trying to take responsibility for someone else's choices because it feels better than accepting I had a best friend who was willing to steal from me and then blame me for it. I guess that makes sense. The restraining order hearing is October 15th. My best friend's lawyer already filed a motion to dismiss it, claiming I'm weaponizing the court system. My husband's taking the day off work to come with me. I don't know what I'll say if the judge asks me questions. I don't know how to explain that I'm terrified of someone I used to trust more than anyone. That I check my rearview mirror constantly. That I can't sleep through the night anymore. I didn't want any of this. I just wanted my money back. Is it wrong that I'm going through with the protective order even though it might make everything worse for her? My best friend's mother showed up at the restraining order hearing with a stack of printed Facebook messages claiming I'd been stalking her daughter online. The judge asked if I had representation. I said no. My best friend's lawyer immediately stood up and said they were filing a counter-petition for harassment based on obsessive monitoring of her client's social media and coordinated efforts to isolate and destroy her client's support system. I just stared at them. I deactivated everything weeks ago. The judge looked through the papers. Asked me directly if I'd been contacting my best friend or monitoring her accounts. I said no. I blocked her everywhere and haven't looked at anything she's posted since before the break-in attempt. My best friend's lawyer held up printed screenshots. Messages between me and mutual friends from 2 months ago where I'd apparently been spreading lies and turning people against her client. Except I didn't send any of those messages. The dates were from when I was still on Facebook, but the conversations never happened. The judge asked if the messages were legitimate. I said I didn't recognize half of them. Her lawyer said that was convenient. That I was clearly lying to cover my tracks. That the pattern of harassment had escalated to the point where her client feared for her safety and mental health. My husband stood up from the gallery. Said loudly that this was complete garbage. The bailiff told him to sit down or leave. He sat, but I could feel him shaking with anger behind me. The judge granted a temporary mutual restraining order. Said we both had to stay away from each other pending a full evidentiary hearing in 3 weeks. That if either of us violated it, we'd be arrested immediately. I walked out of that courtroom feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My husband was waiting in the hallway. Said we needed to get a lawyer right now. That this was spiraling into something way bigger than small claims and we needed real legal help. We hired an attorney that afternoon. Cost $3,500 just for the retainer. She listened to everything and said my best friend's legal strategy was obvious. She was trying to muddy the waters and make this look like a mutual conflict instead of theft and attempted burglary. Said the fake Facebook messages were probably created using Inspect Element or Photoshop. That we'd need a forensic expert to prove they were fabricated. Another $2,000 for the digital forensics person. I've now spent $5,500 trying to get back $1,800 that someone stole from me. My lawyer filed a motion to dismiss the counter-restraining order and submitted my deactivation records from Facebook showing I hadn't been on the platform. But the hearing isn't for 3 weeks. Until then, we both have restraining orders against each other. My best friend's criminal trial for the burglary attempt got pushed back again. Her lawyer argued she needed psychiatric evaluation before proceeding. The prosecutor objected, but the judge allowed it. So now there's a court-ordered psych eval that'll take 6 weeks. Everything is delayed. Everything costs money. Everything makes me look worse. My lawyer said that's the point. That my best friend's attorney is burying us in motions and delays and costs because they know most people can't afford to keep fighting. That they're hoping I'll just drop everything and walk away. My husband said we're not dropping anything. That we'll pay whatever it takes. But I can see the stress on his face when the bills come. We were saving for a down payment on a house. That money's disappearing into legal fees. My coworker asked again why I seemed distracted. I told her I was dealing with some legal stuff. She said if I needed to talk she was there. I thanked her and changed the subject. I can't tell people at work about this. Can't explain that my best friend of 12 years stole from me and is now accusing me of stalking her. Can't say I have a restraining order against someone I used to share everything with. It sounds insane. It sounds like something that happens to other people. The mutual friends who defended me initially are getting quieter. My best friend's posting about her mental health struggles and trauma therapy. About how she's surviving, despite people trying to hurt her. She never mentions me by name, but everyone knows who she means. One friend sent me a private message asking if maybe we should all just move past this. Said it's been months and maybe enough damage has been done on both sides. I didn't respond. My husband checked our Ring camera footage from the night of the break-in attempt. Watched it frame by frame to make sure we had clear evidence. You can see her trying to pry open the window. See her jump when my husband opened the door. See the screwdriver in her hand. Our lawyer said that footage is crucial. That it proves intent and contradicts any mental health crisis defense. That we need to preserve it carefully. I've watched that video maybe 50 times. Keep trying to see the person I knew in the woman holding a screwdriver to my window at 2 a.m. Keep waiting for it to make sense. It doesn't. The preliminary hearing for the original theft charge is finally happening next week. The one that started all of this. My best friend supposedly paid back $400 of the original $1,800 through the court before the burglary charge complicated everything. I never saw the money. My lawyer says it's probably sitting in some court account waiting for the restitution order to be finalized. So I'm still out $1,400 plus all the legal fees. My husband keeps saying we're doing the right thing. That we can't let someone get away with stealing and then blame us for the consequences. That if we back down now she wins. But I don't feel like I'm winning anything. My mom called yesterday. Said my best friend's mother contacted her again. This time crying about how her daughter's in therapy 3 times a week and on medication for depression and anxiety. How she barely leaves the house. How I've destroyed a good person over money and pride. My mom told her to stop calling. Said she didn't want to hear it anymore. Then my mom asked me how I was really doing. I lied and said I was fine. I'm not fine. I'm angry and exhausted and so tired of this whole thing. Tired of checking over my shoulder. Tired of legal documents and court dates. Tired of spending money we don't have to fight someone who used to be family to me. My lawyer says the evidentiary hearing in 3 weeks will be crucial. That we'll present the forensic evidence proving the Facebook messages are fake. That we'll show my deactivation records and the Ring footage and build a timeline that proves I'm telling the truth. She also said my best friend's lawyer is good. That they're going to fight hard and make this as ugly as possible. That I need to be prepared for her to testify about our friendship, about things I told her in confidence, about every mistake I ever made. That they'll try to paint me as vindictive and cruel. I asked what happens if we lose. She said we won't, but her voice didn't sound certain. The trial date for the burglary charge got set for January. 4 months away. My lawyer says that's actually good. Gives us time to deal with the restraining order situation first. To build a stronger case. 4 more months of this. My husband found me crying in our bedroom 2 nights ago. Asked what he could do. I told him I just wanted it to be over. Wanted to go back to before any of this happened. He held me and didn't say anything. Because there's nothing to say. We can't go back. I keep thinking about the $1,800. How it was supposed to be 3 months of rent saved up. How I'd been so proud of myself for actually building an emergency fund. How stupid I was to tell my best friend I'd been saving extra when she asked. That conversation feels like it happened to a different person. Someone naive enough to think 12 years of friendship meant something. The forensics expert is supposed to have preliminary findings by tomorrow. My lawyer says if we can prove the Facebook messages are fabricated, it'll destroy my best friend's harassment claims. That the counter-restraining order will get dismissed and we can focus on the criminal charges. I should feel hopeful about that. I just feel empty. Should I be worried that this is going to trial? That she's willing to drag this out for months instead of just taking responsibility? The forensic expert confirmed every single Facebook message was fabricated and my best friend's lawyer withdrew from the case 2 days later. My attorney called me at work. Said the digital analysis showed the screenshots had been doctored using basic photo editing software. That the metadata didn't match, the timestamps were impossible, and several of the conversations referenced events that never happened. She said my best friend's lawyer saw the report and immediately filed a motion to withdraw as counsel. The judge granted it. My best friend showed up to court alone 3 days ago for the evidentiary hearing on the restraining orders. She looked terrible. Hair unbrushed, no makeup, wearing sweatpants to court. Her mom sat in the back row crying the entire time. My lawyer presented everything. The forensics report, my Facebook deactivation records, the Ring camera footage from the break-in attempt, text messages where my best friend admitted taking the money, the original police report, the school district's termination letter. The judge asked my best friend if she had anything to say. She stood there silent for maybe 30 seconds. Then she said, "I just wanted my friend back." The judge dismissed her counterpetition immediately. Said fabricating evidence was serious and she was lucky criminal charges weren't being filed for that alone. Extended my restraining order for 3 years. Said if my best friend came within 500 feet of me, my home, or my workplace she'd go to jail immediately. My best friend started sobbing. Her mom tried to come up to comfort her but the bailiff stopped her. The judge asked if she understood the order. She nodded and left the courtroom still crying. I felt nothing watching her walk out. The criminal trial for the burglary attempt happened last week. My best friend took a plea deal the morning of trial. Pled guilty to attempted burglary and criminal trespassing. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in county jail with credit for time served. She's been in custody since she couldn't make bail after her second arrest. Her original probation for the theft was revoked. She'll serve that time consecutively. Total of 2 years and 3 months. The restitution was finalized. She owes me $1,400 plus court fees. My lawyer said I'll probably never see that money, but at least it's on record. My husband and I spent $7,800 total on legal fees. We're not getting that back either. The school where my best friend taught sent out an email to parents after her sentencing. Explained that a former staff member had been terminated and subsequently convicted of criminal charges. Didn't name her, but everyone knew who they meant. Some parent posted it in a local Facebook group. The comments were brutal. I saw screenshots because mutual friends sent them to me. People calling her a psycho. Saying they were glad she'd never be around their kids again. Speculating about what else she might have done that no one caught. I didn't feel good reading them. Didn't feel vindicated or satisfied. Just empty. 3 of our mutual friends reached out after the sentencing. Said they were sorry for doubting me. That they didn't realize how bad it had gotten. One of them admitted my best friend had asked to borrow money from her too, right after the theft, and she'd said no because something felt off. I thanked them for reaching out, but I didn't want to rehash everything. Didn't want to hear apologies or explanations. I just wanted to move on. My husband keeps asking if I'm okay. I keep saying yes. He doesn't believe me, but he stopped pushing. We're not getting the house we wanted. The legal fees destroyed our down payment savings. We're looking at smaller places now. Cheaper neighborhoods. My husband says we'll rebuild, but I can see the frustration on his face when he looks at our bank statements. I went back to the grocery store near our apartment last week. The one I'd been avoiding. Walked down every aisle like I was proving something to myself. Nobody cared. Nobody even looked at me. The world kept moving like nothing happened. My best friend's mom sent me a letter last month. Not through a lawyer, just a handwritten note to my address. Said she knew I'd never forgive her daughter, but asked if I could at least understand she was sick. That the theft and everything after came from a place of mental illness and desperation, not malice. Said her daughter was getting treatment in jail. Going to therapy. Taking medication. Working on herself. Said she hoped someday I'd be able to remember the good times instead of just the end. I burned the letter in our kitchen sink. My therapist asked what I wanted to happen next. What closure would look like for me. I said I didn't know. She said that's okay, that I don't have to have answers yet. But the truth is I do know what I want. I want to stop thinking about this. Want to stop checking the Ring camera. Want to stop tensing up when I see someone who looks like her. Want to stop doing the math on how much money we lost and how long it'll take to recover. Want to stop feeling like I should have seen this coming. Because there were signs. Small things I ignored. Times she asked for money and got weird when I said no. Comments about how easy my life seemed compared to hers. That one time she made a joke about me keeping cash in my apartment and how trusting that was. I ignored all of it because she was my best friend. Because 12 years meant something. Because I thought loyalty was worth more than paying attention. I was wrong. The restraining order is good for 3 years. My best friend will be out of jail in less than 2 with good behavior. My lawyer said when she's released I should be extra careful. That people sometimes fixate on the person they blame for their problems. So I'll be watching my back for years. Checking over my shoulder. Second-guessing friendships. Keeping my emergency fund in a bank account instead of my apartment. All because I trusted someone who took everything from me and then tried to make it my fault. My husband said he's proud of me for seeing it through. For not backing down when it got hard. I nodded and thanked him, but I don't feel proud. I feel like I lost something I can't get back. Not the money, not even the friendship. Something bigger than that. Some fundamental belief that people who love you won't hurt you. That 12 years of history means something. That trust is real. I know that sounds dramatic. My therapist would probably say I'm catastrophizing. But I keep thinking about that night I found my best friend taking money from my dresser. How she looked at me like I was the problem. How easily she made it my fault. That's what keeps me up at night. Not the theft or the trials or the legal fees. The realization that someone can know you completely and still decide you deserve what they do to you. The restraining order paperwork is in my desk drawer at home. I check it sometimes to remind myself this actually happened. That I didn't imagine it or overreact. That the courts agreed she was dangerous. That helps on the days I start wondering if I went too far. My best friend will be 30 when she gets out of jail. I'll be 29. We should have been planning her bachelorette party by then. Should have been picking out bridesmaid dresses and arguing over wedding colors and laughing about inside jokes nobody else understood. Instead, she'll be a felon with a record who can't teach anymore. And I'll be someone who checks her locks 3 times before bed and doesn't trust anyone enough to tell them where I keep my money. We did this to each other. She stole and I pressed charges and everything spiraled from there until we both ended up here. Except that's not true. She stole. That's where it started. Everything else was just consequences. I need to remember that.